Hey, thank you guys for joining us for another King Solomon Entertainment interview. We committed to bringing you great programming and wonderful content. And so today we have a wonderful guest that we're bringing on as Hollywood Now. So I'm going to bring him on and do the intro. So give me 1 second as we allow more people to get in. I'm going to bring him on now. Thank you, thank you. Just allowing a few people to come in and to join the live. Thank you guys for joining us. Hey, Mr. Head, Rikarlo. What's
Hey,
going
what's
on?
up, man? How you doing?
All right. I just don't mess around with that add button. So I just when people come in, I add them right away. But definitely won't wait for more people to come in. Then I'm gonna start the intro, sir, if you don't mind. Then
No, take your
we gonna
time.
get right into it, okay?
Take your time. I'm right here.
Okay. All right. And so thank you guys for joining for another live with King Solomon Entertainment, where you watching Hollywood Now. And of course, soon as hey, hey. And so thank you guys so much for Hollywood Now, where we do one-on-one interviews with today's most influential stars, as well as now, as you see, Hollywood Insider. So thank you guys for joining us, and make sure you follow us, comment, subscribe, and like on YouTube, James Clayton Interview, Twitter, King Solomon Entertainment, as well as Facebook, King Solomon Entertainment, and also we on Instagram, King Solomon Entertainment. Today we have a wonderful insider in Hollywood. His name is Rikarlo. Please introduce yourself, sir. Please introduce yourself. Can you hear me, Ricardo?
Oh yeah, what'd you say? Oh yeah, so Rikarlo Handy, Sunwise Media. Here in Los Angeles, California today.
Yes, sir.
Sunny outside.
Yeah, it's really hot today. So thank you so much. So we're gonna get into just a little bit of what you've been an insider. You work with Bounce, you work with BT, TV1, you work with so many different networks, MTV, Spike. So give us a little insight on programming and what you do.
Well, currently, I have my own.
Yes, Sunrise Media.
Yeah, I got my own company, Sunwise Media, and basically through that company, we do a lot of original syndication. So what that looks like is, we create a program either via special or a series, and we distribute it out to broadcast and cable networks, and in that format, we're selling our own advertising, we're controlling our own destiny. Um, on the previous positions I've held at the other networks, I was more so operating as a development executive. So people would pitch me their shows. People would, I would oversee the current productions that were at the network, or as a showrunner when I was working with BT and different networks. I would oversee one particular show at a time. You know what I mean? Versus at the network development level, I was overseeing multiple shows. And now at this company, I'm overseeing the whole process.
Okay, so before we get into Sunrise, I want to ask you about programming. When you was the point person of people submitting to you, this show is designed not only for one-on-one interviews with today's most hottest Hollywood stars and influencers, but an insider such as yourself to that person that says, I want to sell a show to a network. What the packaging should look like? What are they looking for? What was you looking for as a program director?
Well, you got to think of programming just like you think of department stores or any other business, right? That's selling to consumers. They have a consumer, right? So you wouldn't go to Victoria's Secret to sell sandwiches, right? And just like you wouldn't go to Subway to sell hubcaps, right? So each network is creating content for a particular consumer, and there's research and all those things that go into it to kind of decide what's working on that network. So my biggest advice for anyone that's trying to pitch shows is to know who the audience is that you're wanting to sell your program to, or why you believe that that this network and this programming is a fit. And there's a way you can get that information before you go ahead. I always tell people, before you pitch anyone, you should find out what they're looking for.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think that sometimes people watch a network and they're like, well, I see you play this and you play that, so you could do a show just like this. Well, maybe that network is moving away from that kind of programming, looking for something new at the time, because maybe it isn't working as well, or maybe they don't want that same kind of programming. They're looking for something new. And so, you know, whatever you're pitching today likely won't air until 2021, right? So you know, there's people at the network that know what their plan is for 2021.
Yes.
And you need to know that plan too. So if you can't get direct access to the network ahead of time to find out, you can do some research. A lot of times they make announcements, and if you don't have it, and if you don't have any of that access, you know, all the agents get mandated either monthly or sometimes even more often than that, you know. But usually they put out even quarterly mandates from each network through the agencies. So the information is out there. You just gotta, you know, be very, very diligent about doing research before you just go off and pitch every idea you have.
So for clarity purposes, when I talk about what they're looking for versus the actual packaging, should the actual packaging include what the networks are looking for, or what are some of the actual packaging you need to make sure that is acceptable, like industry standard? You know, what type of packaging they're looking for, how it should look when you submit it.
Right. I mean, I think that, you know, if you've gone to college, right, and you submitted a thesis paper at the end of the year, right, or, you know, some kind of portfolio, you know, for a job where you're like saying, I'm a photographer, this is what I do. You want to give them as much evidence as possible, right, that you did all the work, right? And so that's not to say, so I think the mistake people make is they try to make the product. And you're going to make the product with your television network partner if you're trying to sell a show, right? Now, if you're going to make the product, you need to have the means to distribute it yourself. If you don't have the means to distribute it yourself, then don't make the product. Make the plan to make the product. Make the blueprint for the product. So that looks like documentation, like a Bible or a pitch deck, right? Where, you know, I've done all the research. That means the casting, like I've got the cast together, right? I got the budget, maybe. I know ideally the ideal budget, but we can maybe scale it up or down this way or that way.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it's all the work that goes into the planning for a production you would need to do. And then you're saying, hey, we're ready to go.
Yes.
TV network. But you know,
that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Yeah. So now let's segue into Sunrise. I read your mission statement. Please say your mission statement. What's your mission? What's your goal? What's your vision for Sunrise, your own media company?
Yeah, I mean, our mission and our goal is to make evergreen content that really services, you know, the African American, Latino X community, and also services, you know, the missions that we want to forward personally. You know what I mean? Like, I just did a movie about addiction. We're doing another. My next documentary is going to be on the social justice space, and then we are developing, you know, purely entertainment content as well. But that purely entertainment content still has the undertone of having some kind of meaning and purpose to help drive, you know, the goal of not only self-knowledge for the people, the consumers watching it, but also, you know, information we think is important for the whole world to know, to kind of move these conversations that we've been stuck in forward. You know what I mean? Whether it's, like I said, addiction, you know, social justice issues, you know, equity issues, you know, all the kind of issues that really, you know, all of our big organizations and nonprofits are all working on. But everybody kind of, you know, don't have really a cohesive message to work together, a cohesive way to work together. So some of the products we're doing are really giving people that blueprint.
Now you actually worked in reality as well. You get The Way It Is and Sons of Guns. You worked on a lot of reality shows. How is although reality is here to stay, you know, as they probably thought it was not. How would someone approach a reality show in comparison to a traditional drama or hour show?
Yeah, I mean, traditional. I mean, a reality show's a different beast, right? It's so there's a bunch of different genres, right? So there's documentaries, documentary series, um, there's reality television, right? And so there's all these different kind of genres of different content, and so reality is one of those genres. And in reality, if it's formatted, it's a lot easier. Meaning, like if it's like America's Got Talent or those kind of shows, you know, there's a format that you follow. And a lot of the stuff that I did was more docu-follow, where you know you kind of know what's going to happen, but you don't know what's going to happen. You know, families fight, they argue, whatever. And so what you end up doing though is you end up creating an outline in reality versus an actual script. You know what I'm saying? What up, your girl B? um, so yeah, so I think that's the big difference, right? But you know, I would say in execution, you know, a reality show is you're typically going to have an outline, you're going to have some characters, you're going to have situations, but you're also going to kind of film and find out what happens as you go along. On a scripted show, you're going to really put everything in the script you want to happen, and the script becomes the blueprint for what you're capturing. And so there's not a lot of changing, you know, once you actually shoot what you put in the script, right? Like that's the scene. Once you're done with it that day, scripted. In reality, I mean, you know, I've worked on reality shows where we shot a scene one way in October, and we make it mean something totally different by the time you see it on TV.
Wow. Okay. So how is it important now you're moving towards multicultural and all of these melting pots type of story? How is it important to definitely do your homework about each, you know, background, each person's story? It becomes way more challenging. So what is the key to really staying abreast on our multicultural society and creating content for that?
I mean, like I said, the vehicle you're distributing it through is important, right? So, like, if you're just doing your own stuff, your own content on your own platform, you do whatever you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Whatever your audience likes. But if you're trying to, you know, create a multicultural world or something that is kind of reflective of real society on a major network or a major platform, you know, you may get some challenges along the way, but you have to the piece has to have some integrity, some integrity for not only the creative and story wise, but integrity for, like, you know, how it's put together. And I think that that's really the approach, you know what I'm saying, is just to come to it with integrity. And you may get roadblocks, you know what I'm saying, from you know, for different reasons. But I feel like as long as you don't, you know, kind of double down or go in the wrong direction in face of those roadblocks, but really like take those roadblocks as a challenge, but still maintain integrity, I think that's the key, right? Like, you know, I think a lot of times there's a lot of us out here that end up doing just, you know, bad content or making just crazy decisions on how we present ourselves on television or whatever to get a check. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times you got to just check in and see if that check is really worth what you're being asked to do.
You have that aspect in the industry, but you also have the aspect of, if I am to pitch something that is positive or that is image positive, they don't tend to buy that. So what do you do when you are meeting the demands of which networks are calling for? Like, how do you tackle that giant?
Well, I mean, you don't, right? Like, you know, here's the thing. So most great things that we love, whether it's Amazon or Apple or, you know, all your favorite music artists, you know, all the stuff that we really, really love, that we really think is the bomb in the world, somebody went off, made an investment in themselves and created that, right? you're not really seeing the networks come up with the big new idea, right? Because that's just not how that typically works. And so because the system of the network is to keep whatever's working and maximize it, right? And so occasionally, you know, you might see a dope creator come to a network like AMC early on and bring them a Walking Dead or even a Breaking Bad. But like Walking Dead's a perfect example. AMC didn't create Walking Dead. That was a comic book, right? That was popular. And so the person that created the comic book went out on their own. You know, that group of comic creators went out on their own and created. So I say all that to say that I think everyone should have two buckets. I think they should have the big home run, you know, this is the idea that's innovative that, you know, I got to make happen, right? And then you have all your other joints that are more, maybe a little more cookie cutter that you're pitching to the networks. And not saying you don't take your home run to the network, but just know that one's going to be a little harder to get on. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you're trying to do something innovative that you know, that really covers something important, you know what I mean? Everybody not going to just say yes to that right away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
we live in now that it's forever. The paradigm in industry is forever changing, and we live now where content is king, and there's a lot of opportunity for like digital platforms for you to get distribution. So is it better now that, you know, before it was challenging to sell those ideas as far as what, you know, your main idea versus your cookie cut idea? So now that we have more of an even playing field as far as who we can submit our products to, as far as all these, you know, YouTube and all these other platforms, you think it's good to work with those distribution as well?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think the bottom line is work with whoever you think is going to get, you know, the product out to where you want it to go. But I think that, you know, we also don't have to be so reliant on those platforms. So like, for example, my last movie, you know, is available right now on all the platforms you just mentioned, not on Netflix or anything like that, but everywhere you can buy direct to consumer. So, you know, Google, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, right? And, you know, basically anybody can get their content out in that way on their own. Now, the question is, can you monetize it, right? Like, can you actually make money? So like getting distribution is not that hard. Making money off of that content is the hard part. And so that's why it's easier to go sell it to Netflix and they pay you, and then they got the struggle to make money off of your product, right? And so, you know, and by the way, you know, Netflix has put a lot of money into their products and a lot of money, but I think as a company, they're still not profitable because making money off of content is still hard, right?
Yeah.
And they are just going for global domination, so that they're going to keep reinvesting into the expansion, but because as more people kind of flock to, you know, view things that way. But I'm saying as an individual with one show or two shows, you know, you can't hope to, you know, make that kind of impact off of that one or two shows. So you kind of have to make a choice, you know, how you want to handle your business. And you really got to think of it as a business. You know what I mean? You got to make an investment into yourself. And if you look for a big studio as a partner, you know, is it going to bring you enough money to net it? And so that's the key, right? Like, one thing I see creators doing, that's the biggest mistake, is they spend a lot of money on making their content look great. They spend a lot of time on all this stuff that has nothing to do with how you're actually going to sell the product, right? Mm-hmm. So you know, the deal is that it's better for you to spend $500 on something that people really want, that you can sell and make, you know, $5,000 off of, than for you to spend $5,000 off on a dope short movie that you can't make a dime off of, right?
They probably believed that they was gonna make a profit. So,
but I'm gonna tell you the truth, because I deal with it every day. People make stuff and have no idea how they're gonna make a profit off of it. They'll just be making stuff. You know what I mean? I know several people that have spent millions on content, right? Groups, but they didn't have the distribution in place. You know what I mean? Or it was just a gamble. And it's like, nothing's wrong with taking a gamble, but you just got to understand that's what you're doing. You know what I mean? Nobody feels bad if you bet $20 on a Dodger game and lose. It's like, you know, but you don't want to go around spending, you know, betting 20,000, betting 100,000 on this TV show that you have no idea how you're going to make it happen. So that's why I say development is key, and knowing the distribution plan is key, and you move with those two things in mind first.
So how are we getting better or at the monetizing challenge? If we want to make our stuff and put it directly to the consumer, what is going to have to take to start to monetize? How do we
audience? Audience is everything. You know what I mean? You can make money. I mean, that's all what Facebook is, right? Facebook has a large audience of billions, right? And so they can reach almost anybody anywhere, and there's a value to being able to reach people. I mean, like, people don't understand this. So like CBS, or even when I was at Bounce, 100% of the money they make is off of commercials.
Yes.
100% of the money they make, they're not cable. These are broadcast networks. 100% of the money they make off of commercials. Now, how commercials work is they pay you per how many people you can reach. And you have to be able to show that you reach that many people.
Gotcha.
So audience is everything. Same thing with digital. It's all about audience. Yeah. And so if you don't have the audience, you need to partner with someone that does. Yeah. And then they can reach the people for you.
Yeah, so we have to know these things, because we're making stuff, we're putting it out, and then we think people stuff is just sitting. And it's like, well, what do we do to drive them to support? I know last time people are subscribing. Subscription is really big on the internet now, and also the direct cash app and all that. But it's still like not the money that people anticipate. So we're just trying to figure out how to answer that and how to really drive that. You know,
it's like any other product, though. It's like any other product. If you make cupcakes for a living, right? Let's say you made the best cupcakes in the world, but nobody knew about it. Yeah. How would you get the word out? Yeah. How would you take your cupcake empire from just at the crib to nationwide, statewide, citywide, right? It's the same process with content and the same process with music. If you notice, a lot of the most popular music artists, they make music, they put a lot of mixtapes out, put a lot of free content out, and then they don't even ask you to pay them nothing until they come to their concert a year later. You know what I mean? You didn't become a fan of someone for free. Yeah. At no cost to you. And that's the hard part with content, with video content. You know, if you don't have a broadcast partner or someone giving it to the audience, then you have to pay to acquire those customers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you just won the award for your documentary. Tell us about the documentary you just won the Gold Award for.
Yeah, we won a few awards, a few film festival awards over our film festival run. Best documentary in two festivals, and but people can check it out now. You can click the link in my bio.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you can check out the film. I mean, that's a film that I know it was going to take me a few years to monetize. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so I went into it with that mindset.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And so we spent the money up front, and now we're trying to get the support on the back end. But we did a podcast. We did a few other activations. You know what I mean? And again, I made it evergreen because I can now distribute it every year. So it'll be available streaming for free, and also distributed on television in September for National Recovery Month. But you can support now by clicking the link in the bio and go ahead and you can watch it on your YouTube or Google Play, or you can download it on iTunes or buy the DVD on Amazon. So however you want to support, we appreciate it.
Okay, so let me conclude by just giving advice to anybody who's inspiring to package a product, to sell a product. What advice in closing would you give to them? And what would you
to try the people that are trying to pitch their own shows?
Yeah, pitch their own shows, who's really trying to package stuff. if they say they don't have all of it put together, what is the driving benefactor to getting that done?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I mean, I think what I'm gonna have to do at the end of the day is I'm probably gonna end up doing like a little mini workshop that I can just give to people.
You absolutely should.
Because it's a lot of information that's really simple, but people don't take time to look it up. You know what I mean? I think a lot of us, we want the quick, fast answer.
Yeah.
And the truth is, it's all a little bit nuanced, right? Like what you would pitch to one place, you may not pitch that same way to another place. And then even how do you get in the room, right? Because not everybody can just, you know, I have friends that are development executives, so I call them, right? Not everybody has those relationships. So what do you do when you don't have those relationships? Well, you know, I'll tell you a couple different strategies, right? Strategy number one is you need to build your own audience, right? Build your own audience and learn how to monetize that audience, right? They have Patreon. They have all different kind of ways people, you know, if a girl could shake her booty and get some money, you can make a video and get some money too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but the point is that, you know, we have to be more creative, right? So that's one way, like get creative, build your own audience. Another way is, you know, hey, I really want to create some partnerships. I feel like I have something strong here, right? So is there a way you can distribute it yourself first as a book or as in some other medium, right, than just a TV show? A lot of people have this eye set on a TV show, right, or a TV series. But you know, Walking Dead started out as a comic book. You know what I mean? So getting creative that way. And then the third thing I would say is, and this is what's going to happen to most people, because if you don't know anyone and you don't have any connections, then what you probably end up having to do is partner with a production company anyway. Even if you got to a network, you would have to partner with a production company. So what I would say is, in that scenario, you would reach out to production companies that have done similar content to you. You know what I mean? That's content you're trying to do. Get in contact with a development executive there. And I'm not just saying call Will Packer's company and see if they pick up, and if they don't, I tried. Yeah. I'm saying there are thousands of big and small production companies that have lots of shows or maybe one show, you know what I mean? And they're people, because I've had this job. My whole job at New Wave Entertainment was to take pitches. And I would take, you know, 15 pitches a day sometimes, right? And I had 30 shows out in the market trying to pitch them, and that was my whole job. Wow. So, you know, we would partner with people all the time that just had an idea and help them develop it because they didn't know how to do it. You know what I mean? And so I think if you want to sell shows and you don't know anybody in the world, then do your research, get your stuff together, and start to reach out directly to production companies and see if you can get a meeting, you know what I mean, to pitch your idea. And, you know, maybe the biggest ones don't pick up the phone right away, but there's a lot of small ones out there that's hungry. Trust me.
Yeah, I know. So please let them know your Twitter and your social media handles, how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, I'm at Rikarlo everywhere, so you can get me easily on that. At Rikarlo on Instagram, on Twitter. But Instagram's probably the best. Instagram or Facebook, Rikarlo Handy with a R-I hyphen capital K-A-R-L-O on there. So easy to find.
We want to thank you guys for watching another interview with Hollywood Now, where we just interviewed some of the most influential Hollywood stars and influencers in the game right now. Thank Rikarlo Handy for joining us today. You can reach us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We also on Twitter as well. Please reach out, comment, subscribe. Definitely reach out. And if you kind of pitch something and organize something, hopefully you have a consulting class or a workshop real soon. And just definitely reach out and continue to develop and get your ideas sold. Thank you so much, Rikarlo, for joining us and doing the show. And thank you so much. Appreciate you.
All right, see y'all later, man. Peace.
All right, then, thank you.